Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Halligan, and today I'm going to be talking about my Attack on Titan finale thoughts. So, for those of you who don't know, Attack on Titan just released yesterday. I saw it on Hulu when it came out at Pacific Time, Eastern, around 8 o'clock. I saw it after doing some homework, and I'm kind of here to talk about my thoughts. Now, for those of you who don't know, Attack on Titan has been around since 2013 and has made it through 2023. So it's been around for a decade with a few pauses. Like you got 2013, then it came back with season 2 in 2017. I don't know about you, but I watched Attack on Titan when I was in my senior year of high school. I was in a car drive with my friend on the way to practice for swim team, and my friend was talking about this series called Attack on Titan. He was just like, "Oh my gosh, man, season 1 is so cool. It's like there's this main character, and he getting mad at these Titans. He's got like this bloodlust to, just kill them, and then his friend knocks some sense to him, and it's just like he does a backflip, and then he just attacks this big giant titan, and he's just like, oh my gosh. And at the time, I didn't know about any twists, so I will be saying that there are a lot of major spoilers in this review. So if you haven't seen Attack on Titan, or you haven't even finished Attack on Titan, I recommend you just watch it. It may take a while, but I mean, this video will always be here, and honestly, if you don't watch it, you're going to be missing out. So from here on out, major spoilers. But as to what I was saying, it was a very fun series to watch. I was attached to it when I first saw it. I was watching it with my sister one time, and we watched season 1 in one day.
Holy sh!
Attack on Titan, I saw it everywhere. I go to a Dollar Tree, I see some Attack on Titan cards. I look up on YouTube, I see
10.
I go on Netflix. It's not there anymore, but it was there, and I would see the title card: Attack on Titan, Attack on Titan, Attack on Titan, Attack on Titan. Everywhere you went, you would see Attack on Titan, including the Olympics. The frickin' Olympics. And dear viewer, you're probably wondering, why are you making it sound so bad? Well, let me tell you. You know how you make a joke from a show, but no one's seen that show? Well, imagine you put a spoiler in there. Do you see where I'm going with this? If everywhere you go, you look at Attack on Titan, there's bound to be a video that shows a spoiler joke. And unlike Moist Critical, I wasn't so lucky because I unfortunately got spoiled with searching up something on YouTube and then seeing the phrase, Eren dies, which is rather unfortunate.
And my day is ruined.
Kind of like how Markiplier would just stand there and just let a animatronic kill him on Five Nights at Freddy's 2, like, oh, I messed up, Balloon Boy just disabled my flashlight, now I'm just gonna let Foxy kill me. So it was kind of like one of those things where it's just like, oh, I already know, there's nothing I could really do, which was a big mistake. But either way, I was not ready for the ending regardless, even knowing how it ended. So from at this point, I'm going to be going into everything that I liked about it, whether it's from a film perspective and a narrative perspective. But we're going to just start from the top, because I loved the opening. The opening starts off as like some sort of last time on JWGG, but without the last time, we just go straight into it and we just see the combat and it's all hype. I love how it opened up, and the fights were very historic with all the characters fighting all these titans. Like, it's basically just like, so there's like this big giant titan, and then he's just summoning like these little titan minifigures from the past, and they're all molded with his like skeleton, and they're all just fighting, and it's just so awesome and euphoric. And then you got people with thunder spears, and they're just climbing, and they're just using the ODM gear, just grappling around, and there's just someone who grabs 3 thunder spears, just goes pew 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 at their backs, and both of them explode, and it's just like, oh my gosh. And then there's just so much destruction and fights and combat, and there's even kicks and fists and swords and explosions. Yeah, it's crazy. It delivers with the action. It was even to the point where I even forgot that the characters even had plot armor. Like, at one point, they get the shit kicked out of them, and I was just like, oh my god, are they gonna live? Are they gonna die? I completely, like, forgot everything about like how it ended. I was just so wrapped up with everything that was going on, and it just made me forget everything. And when you get your character so wrapped up in the story, that's when you know they did a good job, and I absolutely loved it. But it's at this point that a freaking bird titan comes in and swoops in and saves them, and it's just like, oh my gosh, what the heck? It's just like,
Pelican.
it's just so cool. Everyone's there. They're just like, okay, we gotta think of a new plan. A team goes over there, B team goes over there, both doing different jobs, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be a tag team sport now. Two people doing separate things at once. And then while this is happening, Armin gets swallowed by a titan, a cow titan, and essentially he's in there with Zeke. He's building a little sand castle, and he's just like, bro, what's the point of living? And he's just like, life is so miserable. And then Armin pulls out a leaf, which has some sentimental value with something that has a narrative of the story, and then Zeke looks at it and he's just like, oh my gosh. I remember seeing an animation about this and I was just like, oh, I knew this was coming. I kind of laughed at this, which I probably shouldn't have. I probably shouldn't have known how this was going to go. But I loved it. I mean, the scene that followed was also pretty kick-ass too, because then they had Zeke gives up his life with Levi finally accomplishing the task that Erwin gave to him of just, hey, kill that motherfucker. And it's just like, it took so long, but he finally did it, and it was just so rewarding. They then got the previous Titan shifters, so they have like some of the previous wielders that actually help the Alliance, and it's just like, oh my god, this is crazy. You got some Titans against the humans, and then some Titans with the humans. It's just like, oh my gosh, just chaos. Absolute chaos. But of course, while this is all happening, the rumbling is still going on. People are still dying. And while this is happening, you're still seeing like different landscapes. Like from what I can remember, I saw, I think, Marians. I think I saw snow. I think I saw Egypt. There's like different worlds that we never saw just completely get destroyed. And to that, I was just like, oh, it would have been cool to see that. But I mean, it's Attack on Titan. They're not going to get too far with if you follow the story of how they were all trapped up. There's this one scene with the baby and how everyone's at the edge of the cliff with like the water, and how I love how the symbolic representation of how the baby is like the light for like the new life to keep going, and how everyone is essentially, having their hands up, doing like Spider-Man 2, just moving the baby along in like a little line, just keeping it alive while everyone's just risking their life. That's just like, that's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's like keeping the young alive even in these desperate times. When everyone's thinking about themselves, they're taking care of this child, making sure it doesn't die. And it's just, that's really touching. And then also there's like a minor fight that happens back. It's just like at the top of this mountain where the fight is going on, like the rumbling's like, I don't know, 2 miles away, 3 miles, 5 miles. And it's just like the Eldians are kind of fighting these Marians, I assume. It's just really minor. It's nothing too major because it kind of just happened off screen. But I was just like, what is going on? But then I just remember, oh, wait, everyone's fighting over there. And then everything is just goes to crazy when they finally blow up Aaron's head. And then it's just like, and then this weird, I don't even know how to describe it. I think it's like some sort of crystal clear gel centipede that's just crawling around and it's essentially trying to run away. It's from Ymir's Titan, how she became the founder. So while that's happening, they assume that Eren is dead, and everyone's seen their parents, everyone's getting together, and then Eren comes up like the big fucking Titan he is. He's like now a colossal Titan. Not sure how, but he is. And then Armin's there, and he's just like, oh my god, it's just like, Eren versus Armin, but this time they're in their Titan form, and it's just so hype. And then it's just like at that point, everyone's just like, all right, we gotta stop this guy. But then the air from that clear centipede starts infecting everyone, and then it essentially just makes them all turn into Titans. And then I remember seeing the scene where Connie and John were just reminiscing about the old days of their Attack on Titan days when they were still fighting those old forms where there was just people getting injected with the Titan serum. And it was just like, hey, remember that time we did that? And it's just like, yeah. Didn't think we would end up like this, though. People that fight Titans would become Titans themselves. And then there's just like this whole entire thing going on where the new bred Titans are fighting the people that are Titans and Ackermans. And while this is happening, everyone's just like, we gotta kill Eren. Because if we don't kill Eren, everything just falls apart. And I will say that I know this is a bit of a minor stuff, but there were some funny moments, I will say. With the moments with the leaf and the part where Peak was running down without ODM gear. I thought that was funny. But then it's when we get to that point where you remember that the scene where you think that Eren is going to die is about to happen. And at this point, I remember pausing and getting up to eat a brownie. I don't know if you're ready for this. I was like searching up, is the Attack on Titan going to have an original ending? And I was like, no, I'm not going to search it up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to watch this and I'm going to see how this plays out.
I'm going to do my thing regardless.
Whether it's bad or it's good, I'm going to see it through. And after 10 years of writing this story, the author stayed true to it. Eren Yeager gets decapitated by his stepsister. And it's a tragic story because they were in fact in love with each other. And I will go a little bit into about Eren because from what I saw when I was watching this, we didn't see Eren that much at the beginning. And I was too infatuated with all the other characters to be worried about Eren. So from that alone, the fact that the characters can stand out between the main characters and all the other characters, that's a strong writing. But it's at this point that we learn that Eren finally drops his facade of being this, strong person of, hey, I'm going to do this, no one's going to stop me, I'm not even going to feel a shed of regret. Nothing will ever penetrate my emotions. But then it's at the end that Eren finally breaks down and he explains how his mind is completely screwed over with seeing both the future and the past, trying to change it, but never, ever able to succeed. And so what he does is that he gets killed by Mikasa. Armin takes the kill while Mikasa runs off with his head to bury him. And basically, I'm going to get into something controversial, but I didn't think the ending was that bad. Now, this isn't really how I wanted it to end, but at the same time, this is kind of how it goes with most dark fantasy stories. This is something that I would expect to see out of Berserk. So it started off depressing, and it kind of ended depressing, but it was more of like a bittersweet ending.
Bruh, peep this one. Like, really, peep this one. No more Titans.
So, essentially, life goes on with the fact that Titan abilities are gone and how, essentially, it's just normal society at this point. No one's a Titan anymore. Everyone is just humans. And basically, they're just living their lives. But at the end of the day, conflict will always arise. And near the end, it expands from what I assume like 500 years from now with the Attack on Titan storyline, because we see skyscrapers and buildings and all this happening, and then we get the ending where Eren is buried under a tree, Mikasa dies. And when I saw Mikasa died, I was like, oh, that's sad, but at the same time, it's like, this is how it is. It was eventually going to happen anyways. But at least, maybe Mikasa's resting with Eren. And maybe with Armin too. Everyone's resting together. Essentially is what I'm thinking. But we'll never know. Everyone else dies along the way. But that's besides the point. The point is that even if they were there or they weren't, conflict will always be there. And then at the end, but it's just like, that's only a small part of what happens. What happens then is just essentially what Futurama did during that, when Fry was frozen. It's just like the buildings all get destroyed. Everything, civilization is just fucked. Everything's gone. And then it ends with the tree being so big. And there's like this little hole. And then this guy walks along with like what appears to be a gun and a dog. And yeah, that's pretty much the end. And when I saw that title, I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. I finished Attack on Titan. And the ending wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty good.
It made me feel sad, but I think that was the whole point. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
But then, at this point, it really makes me beg the question. Is if Attack on Titan, the ending, a lot of people are probably getting mad because of how, and the tree is just a reminder that life will always find evil and bad and conflict. But I mean, at least for me, is that if this tree were to, I don't know, contain the Titan powers and, change that person at the end to a Titan.
If the story were to continue, it doesn't have to continue that way.
But it's just, it could be a start of a new story. Who knows? But I think the Attack on Titan story, the way it ends, is just perfectly fine. With having someone just walk upon a tree and, it just ends like that. Just a tree and a dead civilization. It's a pretty good ending. There's nothing you could really do about it. And, for what it's worth, I really like this story. I'm so glad that my friend got me into it, because I don't think I would ever see Attack on Titan without him talking about it. And he's behind the Attack on Titan series. I think he's still on season 1.
Hi, Future Michael here. I wanted to tell you or inform you all that he already finished the series already, and yeah, he's already done with it by the time I post this.
And I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video of essentially a little breakdown of the entire synopsis, and also getting a little controversial with saying that the ending wasn't that bad and that I actually liked it. So that's all I got to say. If I were to rate this, I give it probably a 9 out of 10 for the movie alone. Now, if I were to rate the whole series, it's a 10 out of 10.